Hello, everybody, and welcome to another great podcast of Trainlang. Today, I am with Santiago. Santiago, how are you today?
Not bad. It's summer and it's raining, so it's hot. But
Yes. So, Santiago, you're in England at the moment, aren't you?
yes. And that's why I'm talking about the weather. Is everything I'm doing nowadays.
Great. So, well, Santiago is in England, but it's raining where I am. It's really hot and sunny today, extremely hot. So, this gets us into a summer feeling, okay? Holidays, vacation.
I'm so jealous, Stefan.
So, Santiago, I'm jealous too because you did the first part of this podcast, which was use of English when on holidays, part 1. Could you tell us what you covered in that podcast, just in case someone didn't hear it and they want to find out what it's about?
Yeah, we talked about modes of transportation. We talked about some alternatives then some more general ones, and then some travel essentials, things that we would need if we go on a trip, on holidays. And then we also did some grammar review. We talked about present tenses that can help us to talk about schedules and timetables, and then past tenses that we can use also when traveling. And I think at the end we did very interesting role play. I think Matthew should be a travel agent because he convinced me of doing something that I never thought. If you haven't listened to it, you should.
Okay. Actually, I haven't heard the part of the role play, but I definitely want to listen to it now.
That was the best part. You need to listen until the end.
Yes, that's it. That's the key. Okay, so today we are going to follow more or less the same pattern. We are going to look at vocabulary, the 2 types of vocabularies, and then we're going to look at 2 grammar points and how we can use them when traveling or preparing to travel. So the first one is vocabulary, places to visit. So when we go to another city as a tourist, what kind of places can we go and visit, Santiago?
Well, it depends on which kind of traveler you are. But if you are a cultural traveler, you would be interested in galleries and museums. Galleries are more pictures and paintings, and we have, other museums. Like if you go to England, I totally recommend the National Gallery, for example.
Yes, or the Natural History Museum. So
the British Museum.
The British Museum. So the good things about museums, for example, in London, is that they are free. And you can go there and spend a lot of time, and they're really good.
There are no heat waves in London also.
There are no heat waves, yes. You just need an umbrella just in case. Yes. Okay, something that is very also good for in London are parks, okay? So like the park in front of the palace where the queen or the king lives now. So, and all the other parks, they're really beautiful. They're really nice. So some people, they love to go to London and just go through the parks.
Yeah,
and nice. You know, something very interesting about London is that it's a very big city, but there are so many parks that I, for example, could go from my grandparents' house all the way to my auntie's house, just going from one park to another park to another park. They would all connect, basically. And I could ride my bike. And that was about 30 minutes by bike.
Look at us. We talk about parks and museums, and we're not mentioning pubs. So,
okay, what is a pub for our listeners?
Well, in Spain we have bars, yes, and they're very similar to pubs, really, to be honest. But the vibe, it's quite different. Yes, the style of the bar is different, and so if you want to have to drink a good pint of beer, the place to go, it's called pub. And in London they have very interesting ones inside churches. Or in the underground, you can see the roots of trees and very interesting pubs. Yes. And
what
you
can
also drink. Yes.
You can have a drink. Important, not just to see the roots. What I like about the pubs the most, you know what it is? Apart from that smell of old wood and beer, what I love about pubs are the seats. you have different seats. All the seats are different, For example, you go to a bar in Spain and all the chairs, all the seats are the same, identical. But in a pub, you have sofas, armchairs, chairs, all different kinds of seats. And it makes up a really nice, comfortable...
Whatever they can find.
Yes, nice atmosphere. Okay, now we're moving on to landmarks. So landmarks are important places, yes, we could say. There are different landmarks in a city where we go and visit. Also, we have historical sites. Okay, so an historical site is a place that's important, maybe because it's a very historical building, or it has a lot of history, a lot of meaning. Maybe it was built, like, for example, the Eiffel Tower. Could we consider that a historical site?
We should. What else? There is in Paris.
So there are many historical monuments, we could say, in general. Those are historical sites. Any other places we can visit when we go on holidays?
Well, we just talk about these big cities, but let's be honest, it's summer, the beach. Yeah. So beaches, and we have words in Spanish like chiringuitos. They don't exist in English, but yeah, but beaches is a place to go on a summer trip.
Definitely. Something very similar to the beach, and I love, is hiking up a river. Hiking in a river, yes, it's so much fun. When obviously you need a small stream of water, not a big river. But
you need to wear Crocs as well.
You need to wear Crocs, and you just jump in the water. Sometimes you're walking on the side, sometimes inside. It's amazing.
I'm not a Croc person.
No? Are you more somebody is into shopping districts?
Yeah.
Like Harrods and other places like that?
Definitely. If it's too hot, with the air conditioning, shopping district is the place to go. Yes,
definitely,
because it's free air conditioning. So shopping district is a good place. And also restaurants and cafes. So want to drink a coffee, you can go to a cafe, or you can go to restaurants. But that's summer, winter, anyway, anytime.
Anytime, yes. But it's important. Many people, they organize their holidays around where they are going to eat or what they are going to eat.
An expensive way of traveling, but we respect.
But it depends. Sometimes, like, for example, I went to the north of Spain recently, and I wanted to eat cachopo. And I organized and I arranged so that I could eat it, So it's fun also to include this, what restaurants you want to go to.
If you go to Bilbao and San Sebastian, of course, that kind of tourism has to be gastronomical. It must be about eating and drinking in moderation, but definitely is. Yeah.
So in our podcast, you learn and you receive healthy advice for life.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Next type of vocabulary is accommodation. So it's interesting that the verb that we use here when we are going to a place where we sleep is to stay in a place. Because something, for example, you can speak Chinese, can't you? So
a little bit.
What verb do they use? Do you remember the verb that they use in Chinese when they stay at a hotel?
Is liu? No, which one is it?
Live. They say live.
Oh, live. You're teaching me Chinese.
住在.
住在. Yes.
Okay, so it's interesting. Chinese people, when we are teaching English, they always say, yes, I lived in a hotel for 3 days. Okay, we don't say live, we say stay. That's the verb that we want to use. So what places can we stay while traveling?
Well, the obvious one is hotels. And if you don't have the money, you can go to a hostel, which is a bit cheaper. So we have hotels and hostels. And then if we want a choice with breakfast included, we can get a B&B, bed and breakfast. Sometimes it's with our own room, but sometimes it's sharing the room with other people, which gives an opportunity to meet new people as well.
Well, I've only stayed in a bed and breakfast once, and it was in Ireland. And it was an amazing bed and breakfast.
Oh, you made it sound like it was once in your life. That's it.
No, it was an amazing experience, and it was perfect because we arrived at night. We stayed there. Then the next morning we had breakfast with the owner. She made an amazing breakfast, and they had a beautiful conservatory where the sun was shining, and wow, it was incredible. And then we just left and continued traveling. So they're really useful. I've never stayed in a hostel. Have you?
Oh, I'm poor. And
All the
yes,
time.
I'm a backpacker, especially on summer. I try to go to too many places with the lowest budget. So hostels sometimes are the only option. Yes.
Okay, so I'm sure you've got some stories there.
So they're not as bad as they clean. They're just very, very simple, but
Okay,
you can get.
that's
If,
good.
for example, the last time we went we had a flight very early and we had to stay in a hostel, and it was very good. Recommended. But yeah.
What about youth hostels? Have you ever stayed in a youth hostel?
Yeah, sometimes if you're young, you have that option. I'm not in that age range anymore, Stefan. I don't know about you, but yes, you can save some money, and you can apply. Sometimes in Spain, they give you this kind of discount for youth, and you can go to selected youth hostels, and it's cheaper. So
okay, that's good.
Back in the day was an option.
So backpacking is definitely related to hostels. It makes sense. It's a good way of traveling. Next one, we have a guest house. Now, a guest house is if you have a very rich and well-off friend, and maybe, he has his house and he has a tiny guest house, maybe near the pool. So those are the kind of guest houses that we are looking for.
Well, that's a good option. But normally they're granny flats and, like this kind of like... Sometimes they're not as good as you make it sound. You're really selling it very well. The guest house.
Okay, I'm trying for our listeners to imagine what a guest house is like. But yes, a granny flat. Can you now explain what a granny flat is? So that
actually, I don't know where it comes from, granny flat, but I guess it has to do something with grandmothers.
Yeah, so usually, for example, this is what happened in my case. My grandfather, he was very elderly, and they turned the garage into a granny flat. It's basically a studio for your old parents to stay. Maybe you don't have room for them, or they can't go up the stairs and you live in a house. So you turn an area of the house into a small granny flat. It's like a studio for your elderly parents to live in.
Nowadays is when you kick your grandparents out of their own house and you put them in the granny flat. Yes.
That's it. Next one, we have a vacational rental. So these are basically like Airbnb and booking. You can book a house, a flat. It's not a hotel. It's somebody's house, and we stay there. I like these vacational rentals. I think they're fun. I have good memories from staying in Portugal with my family in a vacational rental. What else? More sites. I think we are going to divide this podcast into two, by the way, because it's quite long.
Lots of content. We have more options. For example, campsites. If you haven't watched horror movies recently, you can go to a campsite. It's a good option. In my case, I totally avoid them because it's too scary. Campsite, just like anyone can come in, but campsites are a good option. It's if you go to a nice, beautiful place in the Pyrenees, in the mountains, and you have a good one. You went to the shop and you have the goods. Campsite is a very nice option to go with family or friends and enjoy the nature.
The good thing, I think there's a difference between camping in nature anywhere and camping in a campsite.
Yes, it's different. Yes, still not very safe.
As you say, someone can still walk into you or unzip your tent and walk in. But yes, true. I've done it once only. I've been camping once at the beach, and it was amazing to open my tent and see the beach there in front of me. That was an incredible experience.
Your best memories you did them once, and that's it. That's what you don't want to repeat, Stefan, isn't it?
I tried to repeat, but no one wanted to come back with me. I don't know why.
That's good.
Next one. This one I think is one of our favorites. Resorts. Okay, so a spa resort. You don't tell me you've never been to.
I never done it. I never been to a resort.
Not even in your honeymoon?
Nope. No, maybe when I hit my 50s or my 40s, but which is getting close. But resort, it's not. No, haven't.
No? Resorts are amazing because you have the pool, you have the spa, you have everything you want there. Sometimes they're not that big, just with a swimming pool, and it can be considered a resort. But they're nice. It's good to have those options to go to the swimming pool. How about homestay? Have you tried that?
Sadly, I have during COVID. Yes, I couldn't. I needed holidays, but I couldn't go anywhere, so I stay at home. That's homestay. My holidays consisted on going to the park downstairs and have some siestas after lunch. But that's homestay. Yeah, holidays at home.
Holidays
It's
at home.
sad, but it's true. We've all done it.
You know, I once heard, we've all done it. I once heard a concept, and somebody said to behave as if you were a tourist in your own city. So what does that mean? It means that you homestay, obviously, that's your accommodation, homestay. And then you tell everybody, listen, I'm on holidays, don't contact me. I'll be out, I won't be here.
Yeah.
And then you go to places where you never go to because you're always so busy. And you can get to spend a bit more money because you're saving money.
But if you live in Vitoria, and hello, Vitoria residents, Vitoria-Gasteiz, there's not much to do there. It's not the best place. Yeah. But
Right.
yeah, you don't have the money and you don't have any other option, homestay. Huh?
That's
a good
it.
word.
Okay, so those are the words we've been talking about. That's the vocabulary. We have gone over time, definitely. So in our next part of this podcast, which we're going to do straight after this one, we will be looking at grammar, future tenses, and we will be also looking at grammar. Which one was it? It was prepositions of place. In the meantime, Santi, if any of our listeners, they want a lesson with you, with me, Matthew, Peter, Aline, or any of all the other teachers we have, which are all amazing, what should they do?
Of course, campus.trainlang.com. There is lots of different options to study English and other languages as well. And yes, you can study with very good teachers. Stefan is a very good option. But
so the first lesson is free. Okay, the trial lesson is free. You can get to know the system because Trainlang is not just teachers; it's a system. It works. Okay, so we encourage everybody to listen. Santi, thank you very much for your help today, and I'll see you extremely soon in our next podcast. Bye bye, everybody.